We are BRAP. I am BRAP, and I'm live and doing another BRAP rant for the love of gaming, obviously, because love playing video games. Sorry I'm late. I know I put 5 o'clock and got a little tied up here at the house, so did get a chance to come on at 5 o'clock the way I wanted to. Plus, just met up with a good buddy of mine who fellow gamer, somebody that I grew up with, somebody I actually grew up playing video games with, which is kind of really cool to reconnect with him. I haven't seen him in probably like a year or so. He's been locked down with the whole pandemic thing. He actually works at the NIH for Dr. Fauci, believe it or not, which is kind of cool. So I said to him, I was like, to my buddy, I said, you're kind of famous in this regard. But he's like, no, I'm not famous. But anyhow, really cool to hang out with him. He's a avid gamer, believe it or not, actually plays most of his video games right now on Nintendo Switch and has a PlayStation 5. His dad, who's like 78 years old, who used to game with us, believe it or not, and actually introduced me to PC gaming many, many years ago, because his dad was an avid PC gamer, is actually a big Skyrim fan as well. So, but anyhow, I'm ranting. On that note, let's go ahead and kick off the show right now. All right, we've officially kicked off the show now because we have the intro. Big shout out to everyone in the live chat, by the way. Be kind, and this man must have been drinking since hella late. Yeah, you know what, Gaming Forte, I did have a couple cervezas. Like I said, I was hanging out with my buddy. I haven't seen him in about a year, so definitely went out and have a couple cold ones. Nothing wrong with that, you know. And look, cheers to you, Forte. More cold ones. I love the Gaming Forte, by the way. Forte says, need to cover up those bloodshot eyes. No, that's not why. Do I like my buddy's hair, Worry Word? He actually doesn't have hair. He actually is bald. So shaves his head bald because I guess he's bald. But anyhow, Worry Word, I love you, man. Great crossfire last night. Love you too, Forte. Great crossfire last night. And yeah, Worry or Forte, if you guys want to jump in to this rant, definitely. Oh wow, okay. I don't know about that, Worry. If you guys want to jump into this rant, let me know. Actually, as a matter of fact, I need to hold on a sec here. Hold on. I just burped. All right. So Forte, I just dropped a link in the DM. Anyhow, so yeah, so just want to do a quick BRAP rant about the Sony PlayStation State of Play event that happened this past week on Thursday. Gotta say that I liked it. It was okay. Obviously it wasn't there weren't any megatons, but I wasn't expecting any megatons at this event. I thought they did a good job of showing some of the indies. Fist is actually one of the games that kind of really got my attention. But other than that, I mean, I thought it was a good showing. I mean, I thought it was a decent showing. I mean, it wasn't, like I said, no megatons, wasn't a groundbreaking experience, I guess, but it was good. It did what it needed to do, I guess. Which is what's up, Alfonso Carter, which is, keeping people up to speed in terms of content that's coming on the PlayStation 5. And I thought they did a good job with that. The good job of showing some of the indie stuff, and I think that's good for Sony because some of the criticism early on this generation was that Sony was not maybe indie friendly per se, or not really investing and building those relationships with some of the indie developers. But That's obviously not the case with a game like Fist, which again I thought looked really cool. The other thing I was going to say too is, I've seen some of the, I guess some of the feedback online has been kind of interesting with regard to the state of play. You know, I saw some people say that Sony didn't really counter or answer Microsoft's E3, and I guess I can kind of, I mean, I don't know. I guess I can kind of understand that point of view to an extent. But this wasn't a counter. This wasn't a an event for Sony to kind of have an answer to Microsoft's E3 showing. It's kind of interesting. I think a lot of us kind of treat the gaming industry like sports, like, oh, Michael Jordan just got a dunk on Dikembe Mutombo, and now Dikembe Mutombo needs to come back and dunk on Michael Jordan, that kind of stuff. If for those of you to remember Michael Jordan, Dikembe Mutombo, I don't know, maybe not. Anyhow, but no, I think a lot of people treat it like sports, where they feel like, one group shows something, the other group has to counter. They got to, bounce back, or they got to, I just feel like they don't have to. Like, Sony doesn't really have to answer Microsoft's E3, and I'll tell you why. They have a lot of games out right now. They're the top selling next generation console platform right now. They just released Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart, and they just released I almost said Astral Chain, but Returnal. They just released Returnal, and they also just picked up 2 studios. So, this whole thing where these companies go tit for tack, I don't agree with that. I don't think they necessarily have to go tit for tack like that. Sony's obviously not at E3. Maybe we could make that argument if Sony was at E3, but they're not at E3 anymore, and we see that you don't necessarily have to be E3 to be the market leader. I mean, look, Nintendo really doesn't have a stage presence at E3. They do have the Nintendo Direct, but they haven't had stage presence in years, and that really hasn't impacted Nintendo in a negative way. And obviously, Sony not being at E3 really hasn't impacted Sony in a bad way, considering how well the PlayStation 5 console is selling right now. Like, it's selling like hotcakes. It's the leader in terms of new generation consoles, and it's also outpacing the sales of the PlayStation 4, which we know how well the PlayStation 4 did. So yeah, I just don't think, it's a situation where, again, they have to go tit for tack with each other. I think people kind of treat it like sports, for whatever reason. And I don't necessarily think there needs to be a winner or a loser per se. I see a lot of that going around where, it's like one has to fail for the other to be successful, and that's just not true. The gaming industry is so big right now; it's $1 billion industry. It's probably going to grow another 40%. I don't think that's necessarily the case where that has to happen. Where one has to lose for the other to be successful. That's just not the question. So, but yeah, I thought it was a decent show. Again, I'm really excited with Deathloop. It's great to see Arcane Studios being highlighted in that fashion. Arcane is one of my favorite studios. I mean, it's just if you play the Dishonored franchise, Dishonored's great. But I definitely got a lot of Dishonored vibes in watching the some of the gameplay for Deathloop. But definitely, you could definitely see a lot of the influence for of Dishonored in that game for sure. Like, it's definitely there. But I think this is going to be a great game. Now, obviously, Dishonored is eventually going to make its way to the Xbox console. It's going to be timed exclusive till 2022. So Microsoft's going to get a great game on the Xbox Series platforms. I just hope a lot of people play it, because I think Arcane is one of those developers that's really just, I guess, underappreciated. Doesn't really play, or a lot of people don't really necessarily maybe support their games the way they should. And I just base that on the sales numbers from with regards to Dishonored. So I want to grab this super chat real quick for my buddy here, Mr. Warrior Gaming with the $5 super chat says support. By the way, Apple a day keeps Windows away. Wow. Okay. Fair enough, Worry. So I think that I think in terms of like the games that they were showed at State of Play, again, I think that Deathloop and probably Fist were the highlight for me, to be honest with you guys. And gals, I should say. I don't know. Like, what does everyone think? I mean, what was there anything there that kind of stood out to you? Anything you're interested in playing that they showed at the at the State of Play? Um I thought Moss Book 2 looked pretty cool. And Moss is I haven't played Moss yet on VR. I need to. It was one of those games. The alcohol was kicking in. No worry, the alcohol is not kicking in, sir. Maybe just a little bit. Look, so yeah, so like I said, I haven't seen my buddy of the year, so yeah, we went out and had a couple cold ones. So Tribes of Midgard, Jeff brings it up in the live chat. Looks promising. Yeah, I mean that's not really my kind of bag. Looked okay, I guess. I don't know. I again, I'm not gonna say that somebody shouldn't be excited for that game. It just wasn't something I think resonated with me per se. But definitely Moss Book 2. Moss is a great VR game. It was actually created by some ex-Bungie developers, believe it or not. There was also Armageddon, or no, I'm sorry, not Armageddon. Arcadigon. I can't even pronounce it. Arcadigon, which is I can't pronounce it. This is terrible. And there was Hunter's Arenas Legends, which I thought looked kind of okay. Jet to Far Shore, not my bag. Lost Judgment, though, the sequel to Judgment, I thought looked pretty cool. If you're a fan of the Yakuza games, Judgment is a spinoff of the Yakuza games. Came out in 2019 and was a PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 4 exclusive for some time. That's actually another game that I'm really excited about. Did play Judgment, thought Judgment was a pretty good game. And certainly looking forward to picking that up as well. And then there was, let's see, what else did they have here? They also had, we talked about Deathloop earlier, which I'll talk a little bit more now. The Death Stranding director's cut looked pretty interesting. I mean, there's a lot of content that they have included in the director's cut. And like they had the Fragile Racing, I guess, which is kind of interesting. Fragile is actually one of my favorite characters in that game. I actually really I would say probably her and maybe Mama were my favorite characters in Death Stranding. But they have added like a shit ton of content in Death Stranding. Like there's a lot there. It looks, I mean, it's part of me kind of wants to go back and play, there's new like melee combat and there's weapons now that you can use outside of poo-poo bombs, as slow-mo backslap refers to it as. There's no poo-poo, well, there's still poo-poo bombs and pee-pee bombs. But there's weapons that you can use. I think there's like stationary turrets that you can use as well. So like part of me is kind of like, well, I kind of want to go back and try this, but the other part's like, well, I don't know, maybe not. I may not want to go back and play these games or play this game again because it's a pretty intense journey. I really enjoyed Death Stranding. It was I think my favorite game of 2020. Was it 2020 or 2019? I can't remember now when it released. I'm getting old. Everything's kind of like blending together in terms of dates. So I don't remember 2019 or 2020, but Death Stranding, enjoyed it. I just don't know if I want to go back and play it again. Maybe. Yeah, T-Rock says there's a new story mission. You're right, T-Rock. I don't know. I don't know. T-Rock, maybe if there was like co-op, the way we co-opt Bloodborne, which is the best video game ever made. Maybe I would do that. I don't know. We'll see. I can't. I don't know. Never say never, right? And obviously there was Deathloop. Deathloop again, I think looks really good. I think that I think I hope a lot of people go out and at least try this game. Maybe they won't, but I hope they do because Arcane makes some great games. A lot of the gameplay elements in this game were things that really resonate with me based on, again, I thought I saw a lot of the influence of Dishonored in this game, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I think it's a really good thing. But this game releases on PlayStation 5 exclusively on September 14th. But it's definitely going to be a must buy for me. Like I'm definitely going to be picking this game up. So, and it's going to be coming to Xbox. I probably will play it on Xbox again as well. So, so that was a state of play. Now, I do want to kind of, and I mentioned this earlier, there was some concern about, or there was some commentary based on the state of play where I saw individuals saying that, that Sony needed to kind of, have an answer for Microsoft's E3. And look, I think that Microsoft's E3 was their best E3 in a very long time. I think probably the best of probably E3 since, I don't know, maybe 2018. Maybe I thought it was maybe even better than 2018. But again, I think Sony is in the position where, look, I think that they should. I think as gamers, we'd all probably like a little more transparency per se, or maybe a roadmap. But I do think we have a little bit of a roadmap in the sense that we know that they are working on exclusive content for the PlayStation, ecosystem. We know that there's other games in the burner right now in the cooker. We know that they're working on 25 new exclusives for the PlayStation 5. We haven't seen any of those, but we also, I think, again, I go back to Sony's history, the last, 20, 25 years. And it's interesting, like when I see, and that's not to take anything away from Microsoft, because I think Microsoft's done a phenomenal job from where they were last console generation to this generation. The work that they've done is just tremendous. Like you can't deny that. Like they have done a complete 180, and that's great. But I don't think that maybe Sony's in trouble as many people think they are, because Sony, like Nintendo, delivers content. And at the end of the day, this thing is always will be about content, compelling content, exclusive content. And Sony has that. And so when I see individuals or people saying that, well, they didn't really answer, the state of play didn't really counter Microsoft's E3. Well, it doesn't need to really counter Microsoft's E3. They don't have to. They don't have to. Sony has proved you don't need E3 to be successful. You don't. And I think that a lot of times we feel like, well, they got to get on stage and they got to have a mic drop moment or else they're done. It's over with. And it's just not the way it works. I mean, it's content. I mean, look, I've been gaming for almost 40 years. There was a time when we didn't have E3. There was a time when we didn't have these big press events, if you will. We didn't have that stuff. And we have it now, which is great. And we also don't know. I mean, look, there's rumor that, they're going to have they are going to have some kind of event eventually at some point this year. But people are, and look, I get it. We're all clamoring. We want to see what Sony's going to have up their sleeves. We want to see a roadmap. But at least in my opinion, if I look back at 25 years of being a gamer, well, more than that, but gaming on the PlayStation ecosystem, because I've had every PlayStation console, PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's one thing that's been consistent with Sony, and we can hammer them on their messaging. We can hammer them on their marketing. We can hammer them maybe on the whole SSD thing, which I'll get into in a minute. But the one thing that I know about Sony is that they're going to put out great content, exclusive content, because they always have. And for me as a gamer, until they cease releasing great content, then I will be concerned. But I haven't seen that yet. Like, I haven't seen them not deliver great video games, great gaming experiences. Like, I'm playing Ratchet and Clank right now. Great platformer, visually impressive. I played Returnal, which I mean, Jesus, I got really hooked on that gameplay loop. Then Returnal's probably not for everyone, but that's fine. But a good game. I played Demon Souls at launch. Demon Souls is great. Miles Morales, again, I understand it's not a PlayStation 5 exclusive, but it's in that PlayStation ecosystem. You can play it on the PlayStation 5. And great game. So, and that's the thing, like the consistency of content. If you look at the history of PlayStation, if you will, you're going to see that there's been consistency. Same thing with Nintendo. Nintendo has always been consistent with putting out great quality first party titles. The Nintendo's, I always say Nintendo's emphasis on gameplay mechanics and creating new ways to interact with gaming it's just on another level. I remember B Money, we talked about when Nintendo first introduced the Nintendo Switch, and I remember the haptic feedback controllers of the Joy-Cons, and I remember B saying that, hey, this is kind of Nintendo, kind of what they do. They innovate with certain hardware features that kind of change how we interact with gaming. They did it with Nintendo 64 with that Rumble Pack feature in the controllers, and that's something kind of became standard in the industry. We're starting to see that now with haptic feedback. Now Nintendo did it with the Switch. Now Sony's doing it with the PlayStation 5 DualSense. But I'm not, again, maybe I'm in the minority here. I'm just not worried. I get it. We all love the big moves. I think about sports. With regards to big free agent signings, and when the team that signs these big free agents, you're like, oh yeah, it's awesome. They're gonna win the championship. It's not. Look, this isn't sports, and there's something to be said for consistency. I think we got to remember these are all very smart companies. Hey, Ice Cream Gaming, these are all very smart companies, and Sony and Nintendo haven't been successful or haven't reached that pinnacle of success because they don't know what they're doing. They do. They clearly know what they're doing. So I just wanted to talk about that because I have seen some of that going around where people are saying that there's some concern with Sony not having an answer from Microsoft's E3, and my point is they don't have to right now. Do they need to have a roadmap and engage with their fan base? Absolutely, especially in this time of day of the 24/7 news cycle or social media. I think that's a fair criticism to say, you know what, they probably need to have some kind of big event this year. I've heard they will. Jeff says the Nets signed Kyrie, Durant, and traded Harden sitting at home. They are sitting at home. But I mean, I think that that they will show something. I think there is something supposed to be happening at some point, maybe later this summer, early fall, kind of a bigger event, if you will, for Sony. So I'm not worried. I see there's some concern. I see it where people say they need to have an answer for Game Pass. I don't think they have to do that just yet. Now, if Microsoft starts hitting these big AAA games at the level, the quality of Sony and Microsoft, watch out, because that's going to be big. That may push maybe Sony to say, wait a minute, maybe we need to reevaluate kind of our our PlayStation Now, whatever it is, or PSN Now, whatever they're going to do. I mean, Jim Ryan has been on record saying they're going to have some kind of some answer to Game Pass. But again, I don't think necessarily they have to have or mimic Game Pass to a T. I mean, if you look at and they can be late to the game too. I mean, we see this in streaming right now. Like, everyone talks about the Netflix of gaming and Game Pass being the next Netflix of gaming. By the way, my buddy who I hung out with today, who's a gamer, he doesn't have an Xbox. And I showed him Xbox xCloud on my phone today. He was blown away. He thought it was kind of cool. but he did say it wasn't for him. But he appreciated the technology at least, so that was cool. But yeah, I mean, like, they don't if you're first to the game, if you're not first to the game and you're maybe second or third to the game, I don't necessarily think that's like the death blow, if you will. That means you're in trouble or you're going to lose. I think people put too much emphasis on winning and losing, and maybe that's a console war type thing. I don't know, but it's interesting because you look at like examples like Netflix. Netflix is kind of the first of its kind, if you will. You have Amazon Prime after that. Or now you have HBO, and HBO has been kind of the king of cable, if you will, in terms of movies, stuff like that. And then you have HBO, which is really super successful on cable television, and now they have HBO Max, but they came late to the game. Disney Plus, look at Disney. Disney kind of reminds me of Nintendo with their intellectual properties, where they're kind of assholes about it. I shouldn't say assholes. They're just very like controlling, which I guess it's their IP. Maybe they rightfully should be, but look at Disney Plus. Disney Plus late to the game, but look at Disney. Great content. They have tons of subscribers now. And Disney wasn't, they weren't first. So, this idea that, if Sony's not first or they're behind the ball, I don't necessarily agree with that, because I think they could do something that is maybe not exactly like Game Pass. But again, I think the one advantage that Sony has is their quality first party content. And they're really good. They're really good at cultivating relationships in the industry, getting these third party exclusive deals. They have the next Final Fantasy game on lock as an exclusive. They have Square Enix new IP on lock. So I wouldn't be surprised to see, Sony also having other, third party exclusive deals that they announce in the future. And I do think, as much criticism as Jim Ryan gets, I will say this: I have heard that he's very focused on content, and so, as I mentioned, in the 40-something years I've been gaming, content is king. Content has always been king. And that's that's why we play video games. We play video games for because they're a great form of entertainment. We're gamers are naturally, I think, going to gravitate to platforms where there's great gaming experiences. I think most gamers will, but some won't. Some are brand loyal. I don't get that, but anyhow, but again, I don't think they're in trouble or anything like that. I don't see that, to be honest with you. That's just not what I'm seeing, and I'm seeing a lot of that. And I don't know if it's just a talking point, why it comes up in conversation, but Sony's fine. I'm not concerned as long as they keep dropping content. In my opinion, I'm good. BRAP is good. So I did want to talk about Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut again. Talked about this to an extent a couple weeks ago or a week ago. I don't remember on BRAP. And look, we talked about this on Crossfire last night, and somebody brought up that it's anti-consumer, and it's not. And big shout out to Warrior, by the way, who is the voice of reason outside of Mr. Eric Jackson. But him and E are very insightful individuals and are very reasonable individuals, I might add. So it was interesting because, Warrior brought up a great point. It'd be one thing if they're charging an additional $10 to the $70 you already paid for the PlayStation 5 version. And I'm probably paraphrasing here. More or less what he said was that this is a game that was developed for the PlayStation 4. This is a game that is incorporating hardware set features, things that need to be QA tested, things that need to be developed using time, money, and resources to make happen. And he's right. And this idea that, a developer, look, we all want free stuff. Like, come on, like I'm not gonna even like pretend that if they're like it's free, the upgrade's free, that I would like protest that. I wouldn't. But I also think that it's a little bit unreasonable for people to, or not unreasonable. I do think that Forte, you and Slomo are the voice of reason as well, sir. But there's something to what Worry said about this game being developed on the PlayStation 4, and then needing work to incorporate, again, time, resources, money from the developer side of things to make this thing happen. And he's right. He's like, if this game had been cop out, I see you, Forte. If I love Forte, by the way, he's such a good dude. I don't know why. There's something about Forte. I just want to give him a hug for some reason. I don't know why, Forte, but every time I see you, I just want to hug you, and I don't know why. It's really weird. I get it. It's really weird. I just want to hug you. I don't know why. I don't know why. I lost my train of thought here. Oh yeah. So to Worry's point, like it'd be different if this game had been specifically designed and developed for the PlayStation 5, and then they say, you know what, we're going to charge you. We're going to charge you because, on top of the $70 you paid for the PS5 version, we're going to charge you additional $10. I'm hugging you right now, Forte, too. I'm hugging you. So I thought that was a great point. Very insightful by Worry to bring that up, because I think that gets lost in, the conversation here. And unfortunately, I think some of this has been positioned based on, just stupid console wars. Unfortunately, I think that's the case. But I do think that I think it's okay if developers want to get paid for their work. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I also don't think this is an egregious upgrade per se. Again, these things have to be QA tested. There's money that's involved in this, resources, time, and I think that's fair for, developers to reasonably charge for things as they see fit. Slomo is lurking and he says, get a room. Why do we have to get a room, Slomo? By the way, big shout out to Slomo, who joined us on Crossfire last night. Was not very happy about the OLED Nintendo Switch situation, which, by the way, look, I think many of us are disappointed with the lack of a hardware update per se with the Nintendo Switch. I would have, I was hoping for a hardware update, something with DLSS 2.0. We're not getting that. I do think that's going to happen, though. I said 2022, where I can see that, where I can see that happening, and the Switch OLED kind of being that base model. But I'm telling you, this thing is going to sell gangbusters. My man Gaming Forte, who works for a large video game retailer in the United States, is getting phone calls about when they can pre-order. Thank you, Gerald Mack. Big shout out to you as well, sir. When they can get a pre-order for the Nintendo Switch OLED. This thing, I'm telling you, Slow-mo, this thing is going to sell gangbusters. It's going to be gangbusters. We all know, you watch, NPD comes out, Nintendo Switch OLED, number 1. Number 2, Nintendo Switch. You watch. This is why I love Gaming Forte. Forte, I want to give you a hug. It's Devontae. All right, Gaming Forte with $2 super chat says, hit the like button, people. Y'all slack it. Thank you for that. Appreciate that, Forte. Slow-mo, then I am a Nintendo. But that's the thing. I mean, we joke, all jokes aside, Slow-mo. Someone brings up the point of Nintendo's who buy everything they do. But again, that's the base. There's a big consumer base that wants their products, that wants to consume them day one, and that's going to be a thing that they are going to they're going to sell gangbusters. Now, I do think that, again, I said this on Crossfire. I think 2022 we're going to get the Switch Pro, and I think that they're going to have to upgrade the hardware because at some point, like, they're going to want to get like ports of games, and we're in the new we're in a new console generation with the Xbox Series consoles, and the PlayStation 5. I think it's just a matter of time before they do that. It just seems to me like if they want that, they need to. So, by the way, OBM, Qdoba is better than Chipotle, so I don't know what you're talking about. So again, I think this thing's going to sell gangbusters. I do think we're going to see a Switch Pro, 2022, and yeah, I think the Switch Pro is going to sell gangbusters. I think people like me will get the OLED and they will trade it in for the Switch Pro. That's what happens. That's what we do. We want the shiny new things. FOMO is. Let me tell you, FOMO is bad. Well, yes, FOMO is bad. Makes me, at least for me, it is. Makes you buy things like it's like impulse buying. It's like, oh my God, I don't want to miss out. So anyhow, all right, everyone. So I just want to, I want to do a quick rant today, and just talk about the Sony PlayStation State of Play event, and talk a little bit about the Nintendo Switch. So, but yeah, you know what? At the end of the day, though, this is definitely an exciting time to be a gamer. Like it's funny. Like I met with my buddy today, who, I've known him since the fourth grade. Actually, I met him in 1987. Some of you weren't born yet. Some of you were, but some of you weren't. Yeah, I became friends with him in 1987, and used to go to his house and play Nintendo Entertainment System. His dad used to have a PC, and he used to play PC games. He's big into like King's Quest. If you guys remember that. There was a game, KGB, that he introduced me to. His dad did. His dad, it was really cool. His dad was like a big gamer, and his dad's 78 years old now. To hear that his dad is like still a gamer, that his dad plays Skyrim on PC. He's 78 years old, and he's playing Skyrim on PC. And he's got a beast PC apparently. Like he's got a 2080 Ti. And this dude's 78 years old. But he's, it's funny. Like my friends, my buddy's dad's always been kind of like, he's always has like these great PCs. And I just remember a lot of PC gaming. They had every console, Nintendo Entertainment System, Sega Gen. They were the first household that I knew to get the Sega Genesis. I'll never forget when his brother got it. And, they basically fired it up, Altered Beast, and I was like, whoa! Like the first time you saw Altered Beast, arise, my son, or whatever he says. I was like, yo, this is crazy. I need this. I need this. I went out and got a Sega Genesis. But it's cool to see. It is cool to see that his dad's still playing games. It's really cool to see his dad playing Skyrim. I still can't get over it. Oh, his dad playing The Witcher 3. His dad loves The Witcher 3. 78 years old, played The Witcher 3, and read the Witcher books. Loves them. My buddy hasn't played The Witcher 3, but his dad has. So anyhow, but no, it's really cool. I bring my buddy up because gaming at the end of the day, it's just about having fun. It's about playing games, and whatever platform we play on, cool, I think unfortunately sometimes we just lose sight of the things that are most important because we get caught in this, this bubble of arguing and, keeping tabs and stuff and wanting someone to win and lose. It's just, that's not what gaming's about. So anyhow, again, just want to do a quick rant, and really appreciate everyone coming by to hang out with me. And I'm solo today, which is cool. Just appreciate everyone in the live chat and appreciate all the support. Gerald Mex is, shoot, I'm 50 and I'm still love gaming, best hobby in the world. Yeah, Jared, I agree with you. It is one of the best hobbies. I love it. It is cool because I've got to share gaming with my kids, and that's really cool. It's like my 7-year-old, though, I think much to the displeasure of my wife, he is really into gaming. Like now he's gaming on PC. He's playing. He just loves gaming, and I just think I gotta wean him off a little bit. my wife's gonna she's gonna kill me, but he really loves it. And then my 11-year-old, he plays a lot of Nintendo Switch, and he loves gaming and plays a lot of games on my PC like Forza, and he uses Game Pass actually quite a bit more than I do. He uses Game Pass on PC more than I do. But they love it though, and it's really cool. It's really cool to see them, and they are growing up in just a completely different, excuse me, industry than I grew up in. They really are. Yeah, T Rock 40 says, my 12-year-old just beat Vicar Amelia in Bloodborne. Dude, I saw it. It's awesome. I mean, T Rock, you got to be a proud papa, man, because that's, it's not an easy game. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know if I can get my 12-year-old my 11-year-old to be 12 into the month. I don't know if I can get him to play Bloodborne. I don't know. Might give him nightmares. So, but look, everyone. First of all, I just want to say I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate all the support of the BRAP channel here on YouTube. We're not the biggest channel on YouTube, but we have some of the best, community supporters here, and I really do. I really sincerely appreciate everyone coming in live when we go live, and even if you can't catch the show live, I really appreciate everyone that watches the show afterwards and watches the replay of the shows that we do. We just try to be not try, but we're just a general gaming podcast. Like we're not console specific, we're not a PlayStation 5 podcast. We're not an Xbox podcast. We're not a Nintendo Switch podcast. We're not a PC podcast. We're just a gaming podcast. So, if that's the kind of content you want to hear, you just want to hear, honest thoughts on gaming and something that's more platform agnostic, then you've come to the right place. And again, really appreciate the support. So do me a favor, hit that like button if you're new. I'm sorry, if you hit that like button, and if you're new to the show, subscribe and hit that bell notification so that you're alerted when we go live. I'll also want to give a big shout out to the rest of the BRAP panel members, B Money 101, Eric Jackson, Slow-Mo Backslap, and Gaming Forte. Also check out my homie Slow-Mo and Backslap on the DPS podcast live every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern time. They actually rotate the show. I think this week it was on. They had Mike Minotti from GamesBeat. It was on Slow-Mo Backslap's YouTube channel. So I guess next week will be on Gaming Forte's YouTube channel. So, but yeah, look, everyone, I really appreciate you all. I just want to say that I don't think I say that enough, but really appreciate each and every one of you and appreciate the time. So on that note, this BRAP rant's over. I'm going to go play some video games, maybe drink some more beers, and then, just chill. So everyone, have a great rest of the week. Maybe I'll do the BRAP rant tomorrow. I probably won't. Maybe I will, though. Who knows? But no, seriously, have a great rest of the weekend. Enjoy your time gaming, and we'll see you next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. On that note, I'm out. Peace.